That shot that you saw was my spool winder.
Nice.
It's actually for yarn.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's
Okay.
for my daughter for yarn. That's what it's for. But
Nice.
I've been cleaning up around here and finding lots of different spools that need to be rewound.
Oh, apparently we're live. Richard, did you start playing us live? I just got the notification we're live. So, hello everybody. That's what happens when you look away for like 30 seconds. Yeah, look at him. Nice guy,
Yeah.
eh? That's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I guess we'll get into it there. Richard, I don't know if you want to give us the thumbs up because we are live. Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday night. We're about 4 minutes early, which was that's a new first for us, actually being on time.
Yeah, we're actually on time. I like
Yeah,
that. I like it when we're on time. And you'll notice we
right?
have 4 windows tonight. Raymond's
It's
joining me in
ridiculous.
studio. There's Raymond.
I am.
And then there's Brian down below me.
And then Richard above me,
And then we have
and then Raymond.
down, yeah, and then we have down and, oh, other way. We have down there,
We're
we've got
getting
the
close.
chat.
Go.
So don't say anything bad because we're recording your chat tonight. Okay, who do we got
Man,
here? I have no idea who we
we
have here.
Yeah, I can't
we
see.
have. Hang out. Hang on. Here we go. We have. Where's my list of participants? There we go. 3D printing and painting. Ben Brady, myself, Chris Galata, Gary Strong, Hoppy Naki, John Kitchen, Liquidirt 3D, Mark Baker, NG Faggio 3D printing and gaming, Mark Cumber, Rex Waldy, Spartan Props downstairs. That's our Jess, Terry Murphy, and Wild 3D. Welcome
There we go.
everybody.
Welcome.
Lots of people.
So we got lots to
Yeah.
cover tonight. A lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
There's,
been away for a few days, and I just
um,
saw a bunch of news in the last half hour that I think we have to talk about.
we do. We've got a lot to talk
Mm.
about, but I'm going to have some of this first because I'm a rock star.
Ooh. I already drank mine earlier. I've been working on vehicles. Oh no, wait! I brought a Diet A&W. We're good.
Diet A&W.
Well, I mean, I'd love to mix this with a few other beverages of choice, but
So let's jump into, first of all,
do we want to do an opening or?
well, we don't have an opening here. It's at my place.
Oh, okay, even better.
So we're skipping the opening tonight. No break in the opening. We're just
Da,
going to say,
da, da,
hi,
da,
everybody. I'm Richard. That's Ray. That's Brian. And down in the
Wow!
corners, you guys. Welcome to the first layer. And this is our Saturday night live stream, which we do every Saturday night at 7 p.m. We have Brian back in the house finally, and Ray decided to come and join me here in the studio, so we thought we'd do something crazy.
Something different.
Something different, that's right. So, what we're going to talk about first and foremost is the big news that came out yesterday regarding Make Magazine. That's what I want to get everybody's opinion on that. Make Magazine. Brian, you've got the chat up, yes, on your end?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm just following
So,
everybody. They are saying you're coming in a little quiet there, Richard.
what do you mean?
There you go. Just yell.
Richard's not
Worst
quiet.
case.
Yeah, I could yell, but I don't want to yell. Okay, well, what can I do here to bring it in a little? I guess I could go over there and turn things up, but then I got to get out of my seat. But all right,
Turn
so,
it up. Turn it
turn
up
it
for the
up.
Friday night.
There we go. Okay, I'll go turn it up.
That's where Raymond just sits here shaking his head.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're working on it, guys.
This doesn't happen when you're live.
I didn't even know if my mic was working because I am used to using this on consoles, as you can see. So it's not my regular elegant setup. And you can, I'm surprised. Is Raymond coming through okay for you guys? Because Raymond, I think, is on the exact same mics as Richard. So
We are, yeah.
yeah, you're coming through good on my side. So
Okay, is that better? I'm a little
that's a little
closer
better,
now.
I think.
Okay, all right.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, so let's talk about what's going on with Make Magazine. News came out yesterday that they are folding their doors, which is leaving a big void in the Make community. And We've kind of suspected this for a while. Brian and I, we've talked about this on many occasions. We haven't had a Maker Faire here now for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
The last Maker Faire, as successful as it was here in Calgary, unfortunately, it didn't make the end bill, and they didn't make enough money to sustain their overhead. So the unfortunate part about that is that we don't have a Maker Faire anymore. Now, what does that mean for the maker community? Well, in my opinion, what it means for the maker community is just opening doors for more independent shows, because without having something to draw people into these hobbies such as woodworking, metalworking, 3D printing, design, ham radio, all these little things that kind of go into that, fall into that melting pot of making. I think it's going to open that door to other people, like the Rep Rap festivals that happen in the U.S. What do you think, Brian?
Well, I've always wondered how Make made any money. Suppose I can talk on this now. A few years back, Make actually approached me to write some Raspberry Pi stuff, and I pushed ahead and said, "Yeah, sure, let's go with it." And then I never heard anything again. But the magazine, I don't think it was ever profitable, to be honest. And I mean, I do want to elaborate that Make Calgary did not go bankrupt for lack of cash inflow. It was the costs that
Yeah,
overran it. So
yeah,
the demand is still there. It's just, when you rent an expensive venue and they nickel and dime you, it's not going to end well.
no,
And I
that's for
suppose we can
sure.
just we can leave it at that. Personally, I like the growth of RepRap, given that first of all, there's no liability to a corporation. I've always anticipated Make there would be some kind of licensing fee or something for using that name, and that's not what this community is about.
That's
So
right.
I
What do
think
you think,
RepRap
Ray?
is the way to go.
I'm not too familiar with it at all. Honestly, I only really heard about it the last couple of days just because something's wrong,
Right.
really. I started in 3D not through something like that, just by trial and error, really.
I think that in the schools, they've cut back so many programs like home economics,
Hmm.
which I really think should be instituted again. Um, and a lot of the shop classes that I had when I was a kid, we had welding, metalworking, automotive repair, we had woodworking. We had all of those things, including photography and graphic design, and all that was part of our industrial arts program. And a lot of industrial arts programs have been being squeezed smaller and smaller over the years in different schools. And I really think we need to get back to presenting that in the schools. And what make and maker fairs did was open that world back up to the imaginations of young people. They could see robotics, they could see 3D printing, they could see design, they could see all kinds of different aspects of what making was. I mean, I was a maker long before the making term was
Hmm.
kitsch, I guess is the word to put it. But at the end of the day, I think that this is not going to kill the make industry or the making industry or the making hobbies. I think it's going to help them grow a little bit. I think out of the
Hmm.
ashes, we're going to see different kinds of festivals. Rep Rap festivals in the States are a great example of that. They've
Hmm.
started taking, they're getting more popular. However, now it's going to be opening the doors to a lot more in the community, not just Rep Rap, but you're going to start to
Hmm.
see more smaller woodworking projects. And, like we saw at the Maker Faire here in Calgary, we saw guys who were building guitar amps out of pallet lumber, you
Hmm.
know. So I think the make movement is still there. And I think you're right about this, that Make as a magazine was doomed to fail anyway because of at the end of the day, it was still a print magazine. If they had made that strictly an online magazine, digital media seems to do much better now than anything in print. And having worked in the print industry, I know that. And you'll see less and less magazines on bookstore shelves, and you'll see more volumes of of things, like how-tos and how to make your own makerspace and how to make or how to start woodworking or how to start welding, or you're going to see tomes of these volumes that are going to be coming out. I'm going to put the question off to our audience tonight. What do you guys think? Is making dead, or do you think this is just another step in its growth? So you guys answer in the comments down below.
Well, I think the problem was they were just trying to turn a profit. I mean, this is not a for-profit world. Let's be
No, I
honest.
don't. I think you're wrong about that. In all honesty, I think they wanted
Yeah.
to be profitable, but I don't think that this was not about the money at the end. It was all about the passion, and that's how it got started. The CEO of Make Magazine was a maker long before he started a magazine, and he started the magazine to introduce people to the new millennia of hobbies, I guess is the best way to put it. Because we were doing, I mean, my generation and Ray's generation, we're both about the same age. So our generation was already doing this stuff. Your generation, not so much.
Oh yeah, blame my generation. What a jerk.
But it's good.
This is what we get.
It's good to have young guys like you as part of this team, right? Because you have a different perspective than old guys like us.
Well, and I guess, again, I don't know much of the Make magazine history, but it was not an influence in me getting into this space. I mean, obviously it brought a lot of information to the masses, but I don't know. It never trained. I never learned anything from it. By the time it came around for me, everything they were posting was 3 to 4 months outdated, right? So,
And that's usually the way print works.
exactly. And it's not, that's the problem, is that, this generation, well, we need instantaneous answers, so we're going to get that information, right? I think the problem is, again, the magazine, it would have survived if it was completely not for profit. But when you try to turn a profit with these companies, maker fairs are not a way to make money.
I agree. What was that? Ding. Somebody's dinging me. I can hear it in my headphones.
Yeah, I heard
Oh, yeah?
It's Facebook going off, but nobody's going to get an answer on Facebook while we're doing a live show. So,
Yeah.
so I think making is still something that's going to be around. Ray, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. I know in the paintball industry, what happened there was they had magazines as well, print, and it did the same thing. 3 or 4 of them just went belly up because they wouldn't go digital.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much advertising they had in those magazines, how much influence they had on people, it still didn't matter. Nowadays, it's the internet. It's digital. People want something sitting in their mailbox when they wake up in the morning. The same as newspapers. Same thing.
Yeah, how many people still get a newspaper out there? I don't. I don't think I've
I
read
barely,
a physical newspaper for years.
even when they're free, I'd rather just read it on my phone, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we're in
Right.
this world now, right? So my generation and Ray's generation, we've been kind of shoehorned into this world where you guys have been able to learn it, as you grow up, right? Because now a lot of this stuff is taught as curriculum in school. So, speaking of making, Raymond did something today that I want to just kind of focus in on. I'm just going to cut to that camera now. There we go. And we can see right here, Raymond, talk about this little apparatus that you found on Thingiverse and what you're going to use it for.
Well, I found this on Thingiverse, and basically what it's for yarn. My daughter does a lot of knitting. So you get the balls of wool and they get tangled up all the time. So you just spin it and it'll wind it up. If you once you're knitting, you can take the handle off of it and then it becomes free flowing. So as you knit, it'll actually spin. What I want it for is I want it for filament so that I can wind up filament a lot easier. But other than that, it printed great. The person that actually designed it did a very good job at designing it. He definitely took 3D printing to a thought when he did it. Everything's laid flat. There is nothing that is raised. There's no support, nothing like that. It's a great little machine.
I think at the end of the day, this thing is awesome. I think that, it's going to serve multiple purposes, especially for us around here.
Yeah.
Because we've got so many bad spools around here that where they've fallen on the floor and the reel's broken and they're sprung all over the place. So this is going to be a handy tool, and I think we need to make a few for the shop.
I'm thinking the same.
Now, Raymond, have you published that? Or
It was on Thingiverse.
oh, you just found it on Thingiverse, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few mods that I'm going to make to it. After you print it to check it out, obviously there's a couple things that you like to see done to it and that sort of stuff. But other than that, it works fine. You can have different size reels. You can't put a 2 kg one in there. I tried. But if you got the smaller ones that you want to take some off of a big roll, put it onto a smaller roll, that'll fit in there. No problem.
I think it's an awesome piece of hardware, and I think it's going to come in very, very useful. Now, Brian, what have you been up to? What have you been printing?
I haven't been printing squat, which makes me feel absolutely terrible. I have been just running around. I've had a lot going on in my life, and I guess today was the closest I've gotten to making recently. I plasti-dipped the front end of my vehicle, so
all right.
So it was a race against the thunderstorms. I'm hoping to get some printing done soon. I was designing a universal window mount system for air conditioners a couple of weeks ago, and I've got one of the two printed. So I'm hoping I can showcase that once I have the little quirks sorted out with it. But otherwise, it's been kind of a maker-free area. Maybe that's why Make went out of business. I just stopped.
Okay, blame it on Brian. Everybody blame Maker
go.
Industries going out of business because of Brian. Okay. Let's jump into something that people have been wanting to ask you a lot about, and I know people are just dying to get into it. That's the Curiosomod.
Oh boy!
Yeah, I'm gonna open up that can of worms.
Yes.
There's been good, and there's been bad, and there's been somewhere in between.
Yeah.
I know for myself, we did it here on 4.0. There was a lot of people saying they were having problems with 4.0. And I think part of that problem goes in, I'm not saying that this is anybody's fault by any stretch of the imagination, but we as men don't like to read instructions. We don't like to follow instructions because we all think we know better. So I think part of the problem lies in not understanding the directions properly. I installed the Curiosomod for 4.1, which is out for anybody that is looking for that. It's the same link that we had a few weeks ago. Go ahead and check that out. Brian, if you can find it again, just put it in the chat maybe. And at the end of the day, I've got some things I'm going to talk about here with these two little boats that I made. Dun, dun, dun. I made two little 200% benchies. And I'm not going to show you the results on the bottom, but I am going to switch cameras and show you both of these again. We're probably going to zoom in on them. Let's see if we can zoom in on them. And we'll just focus.
Oh, wrong way.
There we go. All right. So you can see there's two benches here on the desk. You can see that it wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I don't want you to see the bottom because there's notes on the bottom. And I want you to kind of have a quick peek at these. And I want you to tell me which one you think was done with the Curiosomod and which one was done with stock Cura. So I want to see if Brian can tell me which one was which.
Looks like one of your printer has an issue with your Z banding.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But which one do you think is the one that is the
I know which one I want it. I know which one I want it to be, the Curiosomod, and that's the one on the right, which would be
closest to me.
When you switch it. Yeah. Is it closest to you? Hang on, switch over the cameras. I'm gonna need to see that.
Let me just quickly cut.
This one?
Oh, I would think the one closer to Richard would be the Curiosomod.
You think that this one is the Curiosomod?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. This is what happens when we have like reverse camera systems. So either way, I'm wrong. So
So I'm going to read you what's on the bottom of this. This
gonna say
is
you're a blip,
stock.
Brian.
This is stock. This is took 5 hours, 13 minutes, 35 seconds, point 0.2 layer height at 10% gyroid infill. Let me just cut back to this camera real quick and I'll focus in on that so you guys can see it. So you don't think I'm making it up. So there it is, stock 5 hours, 13 minutes, 35 seconds, 0.2 at 10% gyroid infill. This is the stock version of the Benchy. And this is the Creosamod, stock Creosamod. Now, I'm going to show you on the bottom so you can see there it says Creosamod 8 hours, 20 minutes, 19 seconds, 0.2 millimeters, 10%. So, after looking at both, they're done on the exact same machine.
Which machine?
The Ender 3, right here beside me, which has no mods, with the exception of course, the hot end.
Mm-hmm.
It has no mods. And those were the results. So nothing changed in the stock Creosum profile, except for, of course, the infill and the type of infill. That was the only thing that changed.
Interesting.
And the the Cura stock mod, or not mod, but Cura stock was done the same thing. It was stock 2.0. I left everything the way that it was. And the only thing I changed was the infill and the type of infill. So the only sort of, I guess, update to that would be, do I think the Creality or the Creosa mod is a good mod? I think it still needs a little work. That's my opinion. What do you think, Brian?
Well, I am trying to install the 4.1 version right now, so we'll see how that goes. But on the contrary, on my side, every single printer and print we've done with other people has turned out to be a noticeable improvement. So, I mean, it truly is your mileage may vary. That's the nature of these machines. If they were all the same consistency, we'd already have a master profile, right?
Absolutely.
So at least for me, I've had great success with this. In fact, I will grab something that Jess printed this week.
Okay.
We'll see if she's probably fine with me showing it.
And if not, that's tough.
Now, I found the same thing as Richard did. I printed two of the same things, just changed the infill, and that was it. And I had my settings were, as far as I was concerned, were better than the mod settings were.
So Jess has been printing this gigantic dice tower this week, 100% on with the Creosa mod, and it's shiny, it's smooth, it's got the little hands and everything too. It's been great. The mod's been great for us. So truly, your mileage may vary.
What machine did you do that on?
That was on the Ender 3.
That was on the Ender 3.
Yes.
Interesting.
So, I mean, this is, again, Creality printers. I'm not saying they're consistent by any means, but it's working out for us.
That's for sure. These results, to me, I had more layer shifting in this one, which is the Creosa mod, than I did with the standard one. And I had a little bit of layer shifting. The start and stops on this one, which is the stock one, this one has more spots where it started and stopped because it obviously did it randomly. And this one did it all down one side as opposed to going to the corner. It went down all down one side. Now,
yes,
are there any other aberrations like ghosting? There's no ghosting in this. I think the text on the back of these two, I think the one on the Creosa mod, the text is cleaner. And let me go back to that camera. Where's that camera? Is that the right camera? Yes.
There you go.
So let's bring this up. Brian, your audio is going to go out for a second. So if we look at this, we can see that the text is cleaner. And this is the one on the Curiosum mod, but there's that seam. I don't know how that's coming out pretty good. So you can see where that seam is. Now, on the stock, you can see that there was starts and stops all over the place. And the text is not nearly as crisp as the Curiosum mod was. So at the end of the day, Hell's Pawn, FPV, he's saying X-axis belt tension, help out. The tensioner, these machines, they're as good as they're going to get in terms of the tensioning. When I build these machines, if you guys have ever seen me build one, you know that I go through painstaking care to make sure that everything's tweaked just right, so that when I do my first print, it's amazing. Now, that being said, I think there's room for improvement on this mod, certainly. I think like that seam should have been in a back corner somewhere or along the bow. But
So have you looked at the GitHub page lately, by
not
chance?
lately.
Because he does address the Z seam on
Oh, he
the
does.
instructions. So it's because by default, where did he say here? He says the Z seam, the most challenging with FDM. Per default, Curiosum sets the Z seam at the back of the model. So don't set it to be random. Change Z seam location for your model as shown in the picture above. So if you look in the settings for Z seam alignment, you can actually choose a different position. And that seems to be a Cura thing now. So
Okay.
just food for thought.
Yeah, it's food for thought. But I wanted to try them out as stock as I could, and that was the best way to do it at 0.2, without changing anything in the stock Cura settings. I thought that was a really fair comparison between the two. And the texture on both of them is noticeably different. Hey Ray, what do you think? The texture is noticeably different on both of them.
It is really. You can see there's a couple spots that are the same on both boats, but that could just about be anything. That could be the machine, Z banding, who knows? But there are noticeable marks on it. For sure.
Oh, okay. This is
Oh.
interesting.
What did you
Sorry,
find,
I'm just playing with the new 4.1 beta and or 4.1 Cura and the latest version of Curiosum, and the author's already gone and made some modifications to the start G code.
Oh,
So
okay.
I don't know if I can screen share on this. Maybe not. I will try. Let me just see here. Hang on one second.
I know my wife is using 4.1 without any problems on her machine.
So I'll just read it out to you guys here. So the author has added for at least for the Ender 3, an M201, which is the max acceleration settings, and he's setting it to Creality defaults. So it has 500 for X and Y, 100 for Z, and 5,000 for the extruder. The max feed rates are being set to 500 for the X and Y, 10 for the Z, and 50 for the extruder. Let's see here. Print, retract, travel accelerations. Printing is set at 500, acceleration, retraction at 1,000, and travel at 500. Jerk settings, he's set the jerk at X8, Y8, Z 0.4, and extruder 5. And then it goes on to the regular G code. So that might have been an issue for, especially with your Z banding that we were showing there, is if the Z acceleration is too high, it's going to show the layer banding a lot harder. So what I would say is, I just installed Cura 4. I followed the exact same instructions I said on the video. Just make sure you click his Cura 4.1 link, and it's already working perfectly fine in 4.1. So I would say don't rule it out yet. This is why I said it was still in development. Maybe give the new version a try, see if it works for you.
Well, I have the 4.1 on 4.1. This may be an update he's come out with in the last day or so, but as soon as it was released, I actually put it on just to try it out. So these were done a few days ago.
On Cura 4.1 or
On Cura
the original?
4.1. No, on Cura
Oh, okay.
4.1. Yeah.
Okay.
So that being said, maybe there's been some changes. I don't know, but somebody made a comment there. Liquid Dirt 3D. However, both should have been set to not random to be apple to apple. Well, to make this apple to apple, just to address this, is I left them both at stock. Again, like I said, the only thing that was changed was the infill. It was set to 10% and it was set to gyroid, so I didn't have to use a lot of plastic. I love that gyroid, by the way. It is a fantastic infill, and it makes for hugely strong parts, very strong. So that's as close as you're going to get to apples. If I was going in to change settings on, all the way down, then it wouldn't have been an apples to apples comparison. I was asked what speed was the Cura stock one printed at. It was printed at the stock speed of 60 millimeters per second, which is what they've set the stock speed to in Cura for the Ender 3, not the Ender 3 Pro, but the Ender 3. And the Curiosum mod, I believe, is set to 50 mils per second, if I'm not mistaken. So
correct, at least for the Ender 3, yeah.
Yeah, but that is their stock Ender 3 profile. Now, that being said, if I tweak it a little bit, can I get better results? Probably. But Ray, you made a great point when we were talking about this in the shop this past week, that the things that you've done to your machine at home with the mods that you've done I shouldn't say mods, but the
upgrades.
Well, not upgrades, but the changes that you've made in the profile for your Ender 3 and for your other machines, that you get fantastic prints, and the proof is right there on the table.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I rather use my profile than use the mod one. It just seems to work a little bit better for me. I've tweaked it up a little bit. But the other point that I see too is if I can tweak it, anybody can tweak theirs. So if they're tweaking their original profile too much, and then you're moving to the mod, and they're seeing a big difference, that just means that their original profile was tweaked too much for them. They messed around with it too much.
And you got a
and
good
that's
point.
that's the case, right? You get into that hole, and your profile's no longer good. Good luck backtracking. Cura is not good for backtracking. So
when we look at these, at the end of the day right now, I don't see an appreciable difference between the two. Will I tweak them a little bit to try them again? Perhaps I will. But for now, I'll just go back to using Simplify 3D. Now, speaking of Simplify, Chris Travis is asking, has anyone taken the Curiosum settings and converted it over to S3D? I don't think that's necessary, because S3D has a fantastic profile for Creality printers right out of the box. So there's not a lot that you have to do with those.
The more I'm thinking about this, maybe we should just put out an episode: Curiosum versus stock Cura versus S3D stock profile, just for fun.
Yeah.
We'll
all on the same machine with the same filament, because I get so much crap from people when I'm not using the same filament.
Wait, when did Simplify 3D version 4.1.2 come out? I just launched it for the first time in forever.
For a while, I think.
Has it?
Yeah. Jake from State Farm says, here's my 2 cents. Learn what the settings do. Learn what you need to adjust, which will give you visual results. Never rely on anyone's profile. And, that's a great statement there, because I think that other people's profiles might be a great starting point for you if you're unsure of how to make changes. It might be a great launching off point, and then you can adjust those from there to get better results. I don't know, Ray, what do you think about that? Do you think using somebody else's profile, or just learn it on your own?
I think you can start with somebody else's profile just so that you can see what to change, etc., stuff like that. But like he said, it's better to create your own profile. That's exactly what I've done, and I'm happy with my profile for all my machines. and I run three. I've got three Creality machines. I have two FL Sun machines, all different. I have a Delta machine, so they're all different, and all the profiles are all different. Even through the two Enders I have two Ender Pros. My wife has hers, and I have mine. Our profiles are different, and we get different results. I can't put my profile on my wife's. We get Z banding all over the place.
So there's a little debate going on about profiles I can see in the chat.
Yeah.
Boy, did we open up a can of worms.
Well, no, it's true. Remember, no printer is the same, right?
Exactly.
So why
No
should any
printer is the
profile
same.
be the same, right? So,
Exactly.
but with that, if you actually do develop a good profile, back it up, because that's a great diagnostic tool to determine if something's going wrong with your printer. Because just
Absolutely.
like your vehicle, your engine changes over time,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So something that worked 6 months ago should work the same, but if it doesn't, it's probably not your profile.
That's right. Belts come loose, wheels wear, stuff needs to be greased and oiled, all sorts of things like that.
Trucker says lazy people need to pick a different hobby. I know he's being funny, but at the end of the day, I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that if you're going to get into a hobby like this, 3D printing, you really have to have the drive to learn a little bit more about the industry of creating and bringing that to fruition through your 3D printer, and I think that's a big part of it. You know, we're all makers in our own right. I mean, I'm a woodworker by long time hobby and professionally. Ray, you've done
Lots of metal stuff. I have a lathe and a milling machine at home, so it's just
and
natural
Brian,
progression.
you're a computer guy. You're at the yeah.
Mr. Electric.
Yeah. So, you know, we all have our own little areas of expertise, but we all live in the same world of, you know, this world of 3D printing and designing, and we're all going in that same direction. Um, Jake from State Farm is saying there are only a handful of useful adjustments you need to make with a base profile. It's not that complicated, and you're absolutely right. I feel like Cura makes it extra complicated with all the advanced options. Yes, the advanced options can be very overwhelming. I'll agree with that, 100%.
For sure.
I know I had that problem when I first got into this. I got a really old version of Cura. I think it was 1.6, 1.5 maybe, or 15, whatever it was.
15, yeah.
But it looked like it was older than the Prusa stuff that was out there, or the Slicer, which is now Prusa Slicer.
But you know, we can't give Cura too much flack. I mean,
No, you
at the
can't.
end of the day, we have this free program that does routing that 5 years ago would have cost 20 or 30 grand from Autodesk,
Yep.
right? Because we're dealing with essentially a CNC now, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Computer, I can't remember what CNC even stands for, but it's something
Numerical control.
numerical control. There we go. So you have a piece of software here trying to take a 3D image, slice it like an MRI, and then figure out programmatically how to draw out this path, right? There's going to be a lot more in the back end that is way beyond any one of us, to be honest. So, yes, your settings are pretty obvious. You know, your nozzle size is your nozzle size, therefore your trace size will be that size. Therefore, your material extruded is whatever 2 pi r, and yeah, there's some basic math stuff that you can figure out for the mechanics of the machine. But if that were the case, then Richard's printer would print like my printer, which would
Yeah.
print like Raymond's printer.
Exactly.
It's the same machine. Even with user error for assembling these machines, they should operate pretty much identical. And as we've seen tonight, your mileage may vary. There are so many factors
Yeah.
when you're dealing with complex, accurate design. That's why, you know, in the video I said it's a great starting point
And it
for
is a
the
great
pretty
starting
awesome
point.
profile.
I will agree with you 100% on that. It is a great starting point. But anybody that's downloading this now, I think they really need to read the instructions and know what they're getting themselves into before they go on to, implementing it full time into their print routine. Now, the other side of that coin is we're getting tons of requests, and I said this last week that unfortunately we're not tech support for any of the stuff that we talk about. But people are asking, is this mod now going to be available for other machines?
Yes, there is.
Oh, there is. Okay, see, I
Yes.
didn't know that.
Okay, so I just flushed out all my Cura settings, and I'll tell you what the current profiles available are. For Creosum mod, we have CR10, CR10 Mini, CR10S, CR10S Pro, 10S4, 10S5, CR20, CR20 Pro, Ender 2, Ender 3, Ender 4, Ender 5, and Custom Machine.
Custom machine. Okay, interesting.
That opens
So-
that up quite a bit.
Yeah, that opens things
It
up
does.
quite a bit. Yeah.
So yes, he's added support for all the Creality printers. It's probably just taking the Ender 3 profile and adjusting them accordingly. So again, your mileage may vary. I don't have any of the other machines, but the 10S and the Ender 3 profiles worked great for me. Custom machine, as I said, is probably also the Ender 3 profile, but then you can easily add in all your machine configurations. So by all means, give it a try, guys.
Yeah. Now, one other thing that I kind of wanted to get into tonight was, what was I talking? Oh, something somebody just brought up here, the SKR 1.3 board. Let's talk a little bit about the
Yes.
SKR. I have not received mine yet. I have two of them coming, actually. Raymond, you just got yours. Let's talk about yours real quick.
Yeah, I got it. I opened it. I'm putting 2208 drivers in it. That's about as far as I got so far.
Now, you're using the 2208 drivers
yes.
that came from Big Tree, correct?
Exactly. Yes.
Mm.
Yes. They are a little bit different. They say they're version 2, whatever that means. I have no idea. I guess I'll find out once I get the board all hooked up. It's in a project machine that I have that I'm working on.
Is it an Ender 3?
No.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say we could have a print off.
Are you sad?
I was gonna be like, are the official water rots or Large or who I can't. I think they were Large. Are they any better than the big Sky Trees? Right? Because they sell a package. Did you get the package? It was like 55 Canadian. It came with all the steppers, or
No, it was different for me because they were supposed to send me my board, and they lost it, so they sent me another one, and I wasn't happy about it, so I complained. So they sent me the steppers for free.
oh well, that's all right.
Yeah, exactly. So
Good on them.
So I've got two boards coming, so I'm going to try two different brands of 2208s on those boards. I'm going to try the Large and I'm going to try the Water Rots and just see if there's any difference between them. Just a quick note here, Jake from State Farm says he's running the SKR version 1.3 and he's loving it. What machine are you running that in, Jake? Just so we know.
Mine's gonna go in soon. It's just I've had a busy couple of weeks.
Now, speaking of what are you going to use for firmware on that board? Are you going to use 1.1.9 or are you going to use 2 as it's released?
You cannot use 1.1.9 on that board because it's got an LPC 1768 32-bit processor.
There you go.
So it's Marlin 2.0 beta, which it's so close to release, but it's going to be running Marlin. It's not going to be running SmoothieWare.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be kind of fun. Richard, why don't you load yours up with SmoothieWare? I'll load mine up with Marlin.
Because I know nothing about SmoothieWare.
Okay, here's SmoothieWare in a T. You flash the firmware, and your configuration.h from Marlin is basically a big text file you put right on the SD card. So you put all your configuration in there. It's like XXL equals 500 or something. So it's actually not that bad. It's just it's not widely adopted. I like Marlin better.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I like Marlin too. It's something I know, so I may have to experiment with because I'll have two boards.
I'll do SmoothieWare. All right.
Well, he did say he's the electronics guy, didn't he?
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I should have swapped these two spots on the camera because when I'm looking at Ray, who's over here,
yeah,
I'm looking off off screen. And Ray's
Well, everything's
looking off-
backwards on my side too.
Yeah.
So I have to point up into that. So it's
Is the SKR good for a Delta style printer? I think it's going to be good
Yes,
for any
yes,
style
yes.
of printer.
It's supposed to
Yeah.
be really good for the Delta.
I think it's going to
Yes,
be good
'cause
for any style of
Deltas-
printer.
Deltas require a boatload of extra math to determine location. I'll
Right.
leave it at that. And when you're going from 8 megahertz processor up to, they have a crystal, so we'll say 16. We'll give the 8-bit boards benefit, 16 megahertz. You go from that up to 100 megahertz. Think about the extra clock rate, right? It's just
Sure.
extra time to do math. It's better for it.
There you go. Where do we download the new Cree Awesome? Liquid Dirt 3D is asking.
So I just
you'll have
posted
to
the
go-
GitHub page
There
again
you
there.
go.
Yeah.
Should be able to run RepRap firmware also, in theory, on the SKR.
Who runs RepRap firmware? Come on.
There are people
They've
that
got a
like it.
festival.
Yeah. There are people that like it, Brian.
Okay, that's fair. I came into the scene late, so Marlin ruled the world when I joined. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha. What else we got coming up? We got a bunch of stuff from our friends over at Filaments.ca.
Elements.ca.
A couple of
There
weeks
we
ago. And all of those people that were on our Facebook that I mentioned this week who won, your sample filaments are all going out on Monday or Tuesday, one of those 2 days. Pardon me, whichever happens to be a lighter day. We'll be sending those out. But we are going to take 4 of the filaments that we got, and we're going to break them up into sample bits. And we're going to start randomly picking somebody, and they'll start getting some of these random selections that we have. And it'll be a mixture of maybe some Spool 3D stuff, maybe some stuff from Color Fab or Form Futura or Ninja Tech or, whatever we got here. There's one I'm dying to try, though. It's called Pro PLA. And, Ray's going to grab it here. The Pro PLA, you don't want to hang yourself there, Ray. The Pro PLA, this stuff here, this is the one that I'm not giving samples for because I want to do some testing with it. And I'll just kind of read what it says here. This is Pro PLA engineering grade filament. It's better impact toughness than ABS and high temp resistance to match. Pro PLA is for the professional and serious hobbyists that need uncompromising performance in supremely easy to print material. So, I'm going to pit this against ABS because it claims it's better than ABS. Now, if anybody's got an idea of how I can build a testing rig to do that, to test the strength, you can, send me a message on Facebook or put something in our chat and go from there. But that is something I'm going to play with. This is made in the USA, and this is Midnight Black. So
I'd prefer it if the stress test wasn't me standing on it. So
no, what I'm thinking is doing something like Stefan from CNC Kitchen. He built himself a little rig, and he put all the plans online for sale. Or not for sale, but for free download. They're open source. I'm going to do something a little simpler, though. Basically a crane scale and a ratchet system to pull it straight down. So we'll see what we do there. But we are going to do something on that.
If anyone's got a hydraulic press in Calgary that wants to do one of those awesome pressure videos, I'm sure we could do that.
Liquid Dirt 3D says, look at CNC Kitchen. I think I just talked about that.
Yeah.
Michael had some great. I just don't want to go through all the woodworking. I'm kind of lazy right now. I've got enough of my own woodworking to do. What else we got happening, Brian? What do you got coming up?
Well, I am long overdue to put some work into my printers, so I'm going to be setting up a nice table with all of them, and maybe I will put some side by sides. I've been meaning on upgrading my very old version of Clipper. And so maybe I'll pit my Ender 3 Pro with Clipper against the SKR Ender 3 Dual. With that, I'm still on the fence how I'm redesigning that, but I don't know. Maybe I'll put it out to a vote and see how we want to redesign the dual nozzle concept.
There you go. Rex Waldy, when Spool 3D changed over to Pantone colors, does it also come from or for the respool? Yes.
Yeah.
It is coming for respool. We haven't
This week.
this week. It'll be in this week. So yes, we will have it for respool very, very soon.
Actually, I suppose I can show off the one flaw with Palpatine. One was with the old filament, and one was with the new filament. And the new Pantone, which is the one on this side here, it is definitely much more rich in person for color. So I
Show
am.
that again, Brian. I just put
Okay,
you on
let's.
full
Okay.
screen.
All right, so this side here, hang on. This camera's not as wide angle as I thought. So this side here is the old Spool 3D transparent blue, and then this side is the new one. And unfortunately, it's not coming through very well in the camera, but this side is a bit lighter, but the colors are more vibrant, shall we say. And actually, I thought this one printed a bit smoother too. So I don't know if, let's see, will that come across at all? This being the new stuff and this being the old stuff. So I like it. I mean, I haven't grabbed two spools yet, to be honest, to see how they print side by side, but the new Pantone colors are gorgeous. You guys have to go into the shop to check them out.
Yeah, I agree. If you guys are in the Calgary area and you want to come down, by all means, come on down. We've got them on display. We've got little mini figs so you can see what they look like. Who is Jake from State Farm calling a mouth breather? Me? Maybe. I don't know. I am.
Oh, is it Palpatine because
Oh, it could
his
be
mouth is
Palpatine.
wide open? This is a dice tower, so you're meant to drop dice and it's supposed to fall out of his mouth. You know, as much
Sure,
as
it's a dice
yeah.
tower.
yeah, it's been a rough time for Brian. No, is that where the show goes on Saturday nights now?
It's going to get rougher, I think.
It's going to get a lot
Well,
rougher.
At 0.2 millimeter, you bet.
So being that you haven't been here in the studio, we've made a bunch of changes in here to lighting. So you'll have to come in and see what we've done with lighting. You see how it's much brighter now?
Yeah, this
Much
is all
brighter
right.
on the table. We got more lighting in here. Well, you'll have to come in and see it. I want to remind you guys that if you're interested, and I know our audience here on a Saturday night is usually not the audience that's going to come to one of my classes, but currently we are getting ready to do another class on the build and learn. So you'll end up with an Ender 3 Pro at the end of it. You'll end up with a roll of filament and an SD card with a whole bunch of goodies that I put on there for you. We're going to teach you how to build the Ender 3 Pro in the morning, and we're going to take you through Cura in the afternoon to get you all started and get you all set up for anybody that's new. If you know somebody wants to get into 3D printing, go check out the spool3d.ca website. You'll see my smiling face and the little things that go back and forth across the top. And just
Did Derek take a better photo now?
No.
Oh, it's still that one. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Also, when you go onto the website and it's half size, the arrow for the images lines up right with your ear, so it looks like it's pointing at your ear.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Cool. Nice. Yeah. Oh well. 3D printing llama. 22/8. My MKS Gen L with 22/8 is quieter than both the Duet and the
Einstein? Yeah, I haven't tried that one. Yeah, the 2208s, just ignore even the board. The 2208s are a great silent stepper. The 2100s are also excellent, but when they're the same price as the 2208, basically the 2208 can run more current. So if your board supports removable steppers, I think it's a no-brainer to move to the 2208s.
I agree. I like the 2208s too. Yeah. There's a hybrid coming out that both Raymond and I learned about this past week. 22/8s are being combined with the 2130s. There's a hybrid coming out of the two.
Oh, of course there is. We need to contact Waterot and just be like, just give us all your steppers.
Yeah, just send us new ones. We'll play with them. So we're going to be talking about that in upcoming weeks. We've got the Dremel Digilab 3D45 review coming out. You'll want to definitely check that out. The Fusion 360 video that we've been promising for a while. It is recorded, but I am still editing through the
Would you like me
sludge,
to re-record it?
the sludge of an episode that it is. I'm still trying.
45 minutes.
There's 3 hours of footage there.
What?
Yes.
I think you should make Brian sort
That
it
I'm
out.
trying to get down to a 20-minute video.
How
So-
about I just re-record it, okay?
We'll go through it, but that one won't be coming out now
release,
for a while.
release
because-
that one on Patreon.
Yeah, I may have to. June 5th, it was supposed to come out, but as you guys know, this week I had some serious issues. Monday, I just about passed out here at work because the migraine hit me really bad, and
Ooh.
Raymond had to take over. So
Yeah,
I
the
was
weather's
down-
been terrible here, so
I was down Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday was just a vehicle cluster mess, and I won't get into that too much, but I was also having stomach issues, so now things are better. I'm better. Everything's good. I'm here in the studio. I was recording today, as a matter of fact. Printer maintenance I was recording today, coming out in August. What do we got coming out on the 12th? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that 3D scanning that we did with our good friend Ben Eady. He came by and scanned my hand when I needed to have a splint put on it. And I'll let you deal with that one, Brian.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to get into that, so I'll let you deal with that one. As I said last week, and I don't want to have to keep reiterating this, but promoting your channel in our chat is a no-no. If you would like us to promote your channel, you best to drop us a line on Facebook in a private message. Talk to either myself, Brian, or Jess, or Geraldine. Any one of us can certainly say yes or no, but the first layer is the first layer at the end of the day. We do talk about our friends, Ben Brady and Jerry Knapp, who both have fantastic channels. But putting your link to your channel is definitely a no-no, just so everybody's aware of that. Pure Support's not seeing reviews on YouTube. Yes. Curious
I thought
Reports.
I saw someone came out
Someone
with
just put out one. Yeah.
I want to
Chuck
say
Hollabaugh.
Shep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chuck put one out. Yeah.
Yeah, literally about a couple days ago, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a small community world. We don't have a problem saying, "Hey guys, you know, go check these guys out." I have a feeling his video covered probably everything I would cover. So, I mean, go check it out. Form your own opinions, you know, all that good stuff.
Hey, somebody's having a birthday here on the 12th, and that would be our good friend Jerry Knapp down in Vegas.
Ooh.
He's having a birthday on the 12th. Woo, he's getting old.
12th. What am I doing on the 12th?
Welcome to the club. I think he's a few years older than me, but not much. 3D Bacon. He said he made it to the party. It's Dave. Dave, you showed up like 6 minutes before the end of the show.
The worst thing is, too, is you're Albertan. You know what 7 p.m. is. So...
It's not like they're not in here often enough.
Yeah, no kidding.
We've got some great stuff coming up in the future. Brian's back on the horse again. Bray came in to be with us tonight. Next week, I think I'll probably be at home doing the show from the house. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk a little bit more about this Creosum mod. I'm going to make some tweaks and some changes. We'll talk a little bit about that next week. And if you guys got anything you want us to look into throughout the week, drop us a line either on Facebook or send us a private message here on YouTube. And just got back from camping, Dave says. It's Saturday. You should still be camping.
Yeah, he's pretty drenched, probably.
Oh, it could be. Could be a little wet. I guess it's kind of hard to 3D print in a tent, isn't it?
I can't see why not.
That sounds intriguing.
Yeah.
And have you got a generator?
Is that challenge accepted?
I have access to many generators.
Ooh. 3D printing backwoods. Actually, Ben, that's more your thing than us. we have to travel a little bit there. You got the back bush area right out there.
Liquid Dirt 3D. Check out Nimble. We've been talking about that here in the shop recently. Yeah. The Zesty Nimble. As a Spool 3D retailer, we've asked them on several occasions whether we can carry their products. And apparently they are not making the product available to retailers or distributors. They want to keep it close to the chest. So if we can get a Zesty Nimble here in the studio, we will. If not, we'll have to buy one and see what it's like. There's a couple of Zesty Nimbles floating around here. Zesty Nimbles. I don't know what they are. There's a
what
couple
a name, eh?
Yeah, there's a couple floating around here in the shop, but they're on machines that are being used right now. So I can't just pull them off or I'd get fired.
Yeah, Derek won't like it.
Yeah, Derek won't like it. I'll get fired.
I'll tell you though, I'm shocked at how few printers have come out this year. There's been nothing new.
Me too.
So I guess we'll have to see what's coming, right? I mean, there's that CR. What's that new Creality machine that?
Oh,
that everyone's talking about.
The Max, you mean?
Man. The CR10 Max or whatever.
CR10 S Pro Max, I think is what. And it's 430 by 430 by 520?
520. Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, that's not bad. Okay.
First question, does it have a fully heated bed? Knowing them, probably not.
No.
Second question, is it built on a similar frame to the CR10S Pro? Absolutely. The Liquid Dirt 3D CR10 Max.
I was going to say they're taking a page from Apple on that one.
Yeah.
CR10S Pro Max, you know.
Yeah, is it something I need? No. If we get one in, will I certainly, put it on the show? Absolutely.
Play with it?
But at this point in time, we've got a couple of projects we're working on, building our own CNC machine. Rest of my parts should be in this week as well.
I think so.
Yeah, the rest of my parts for my, I'm using an open builds design for my CNC. It's going to be a meter by a meter, and it just uses a standard DeWalt router. So, yeah, that should be fun. And we'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to move a little bit more into making as well as 3D printing. We've got a project, a NanoLeaf project coming up for the back wall. We've been printing off some samples and just experimenting with it.
And I have something new coming in, but given that it's coming from China and it's not being shipped via e-packet, I don't know when it's going to show up.
You don't know?
But when it does, yeah. Okay. Because I can't even get tracking on it. Like I've got the tracking number that says it's left China, but that's it. So when that comes in, that's all you guys are getting for a spoiler is I got something coming in from China, and it's going to be cool. I hope. I really hope.
With that said, guys, it is 8 o'clock. We've been on for an hour. That's usually our time. I still have.
They're sick of us.
Well, I still have to vacuum the floors here and take out the garbage. I haven't had a chance to do that yet today.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I get to be the janitor this week. So I got to vacuum the floors and stuff. I may actually come back and do it tomorrow. But with that, what's going on with the Prusa Bear build? I knew somebody was going to ask that. Rotten. The Prusa Bear build sitting right over there. It is on my queue to get back to start recording. Next week, I will not be in the studio recording. I'm going to spend some time with my wife next week. And the week after that, I will be back in studio recording, and I will be diving into that. That's part of one of the things I want to go and do. With that said, we're going to get out of here. Ray's got a wife to go home to. You got a woman to play with. And she's not blow up.
Jeez. You are a terrible person.
I am. But that's why you love me.
You're a very terrible person. Yeah.
I want to tell you, we still got merch. Yes, the 20% off Mayflowers is gone. But we still have t-shirts and that kind of stuff. Thanks, guys, for joining us us tonight. I got to run
Yeah.
over there to stop the stream, so Ray and Brian are gonna talk
Finish
you
up.
out.
There we go.
All right, we'll just ambush the show. This is the Ray and Brian hour, and
Exactly.
up until Richard presses the button. But
Yeah.
thanks
and he
again,
cuts us
guys.
off.
Always fun. Yeah. Mid
Yeah,
sentence.
for sure.
Whoa. Oh, geez.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, he's on to us.
Big
He's
Brother's
on to
watching
us.
Yeah.